It's not very elegant, but I'm just gonna flip. Today I'm going to be cooking from Priya Krishna's book Indianish, which came out last year and has made a huge splash ever since. Specifically, I'm going to be cooking the Dahi toast, which is essentially a fried griddled sandwich with a really delicious herby yogurt sauce inside. Priya's sort of thesis of the book is that Indian food is every night food, and if billions of working Indian parents are making this food for their kids on an average weeknight, we can too. It just requires going to the store, buying a few spices, and you'll use them over and over again. This is a super low maintenance recipe. It uses only a small handful of ingredients, but all of them are really impactful and add to the dish in a huge way. First, some sourdough bread. I bought mine pre-sliced, but if you have, a loaf of local sourdough bread that you like best, you can just bring it home and slice it up for this. Some whole milk Greek yogurt, some chilies. I have these Scotch bonnets, which I'll talk about in a second, but and they're really, really spicy. But you can use serranos or Thai chilies or anything you have lying around. This is very flexible. Then a red onion. Priya calls for half a medium red onion cut up, but I have this little small one, and so I'm going to use it in its entirety. Next, a couple of spices. Ooh. First of all, some regular black pepper, some red chili powder, some fresh curry leaves, and some black mustard seeds, which are pretty typical of South Indian cooking, and they create this really intense, pungent, wonderful aroma, especially when they are fried or tempered in oil, which I'll get to in a minute. Then last, some cilantro, and we're going to be using a lot of cilantro in this, both the leaves and the stems. Do not throw the stems out. They provide so much flavor. We're going to start the sandwiches, or the dahi toast, by first tempering some of our spices. And basically that just means frying the spices in a little bit of oil to kind of release the flavor and also flavor the oil with the spices. And this is called a few different things in India. Priya and her family call it chunk, and I think it's known that way in a lot of northern Indian regions. And my family calls it dalche, which I don't know if any other families call it that, but it could be just our version of Tamil. And it just produces this really richly flavored oil and brings out the toastiness and best parts of the spices that you're tempering. So today we're just going to temper the black mustard seeds that I told you about and the curry leaves and really infuse the oil with those flavors. Just gonna put in about a quarter cup, or if you're me, a healthy unmeasured splash of olive oil in a fairly small pot. I broke my butter warmer, but because it was made of glass, you can't trust me with that. And so I'm just using this sort of medium-sized pot. But if you have something smaller than this, please go ahead and use it. I would personally not use like a wide rimmed skillet or anything that sort of opens up in any way, because as you'll soon see, the mustard seeds will go popping everywhere along with the hot oil, and that is not fun times. Just gonna heat the oil for a second, and you don't want it to get too hot either, so I would say like a medium high to high, and we're just gonna put in about, I will actually measure for this one, well, put in about 1.5 teaspoons of these black mustard seeds. Starting to pop. And when it pops and sputters, swirl it around. And then I'm just gonna turn it off. That's enough. Now we're gonna add in to this tempered mixture, the tempered mustard seeds, a good number of curry leaves. Swirl that around a little bit. curry leaves have they are quintessentially, they smell and taste like what you might expect curry to. Again, like a really savory, deep, almost pungent flavor that is so super delicious and is really foundational to a lot of, especially South Indian cuisine, but cuisine all over India. While the tempered mixture is going to cool a little bit and the curry leaves will continue to infuse the oil from the residual heat, we're going to work on our yogurt mixture and yeah, get that ready to go into sandwiches. So first I'm going to start with a red onion and just chop it quite finely, because again, this is going to be the basis of your sandwich and you don't want some big chunks of onion rolling around there. Or maybe you do. I don't know you. Ooh. This is a very, very pungent one. Well, I'll see you in a second. What are you doing? Ooh. I'm crying because of my mustard seeds going away. Also because I have so many dishes in the sink. We are done. Just gonna put that in our Greek yogurt. Now onto these chilies. Like I said, this is just what I had available. These little guys, they're super spicy, so I'm about to use just half of it. Add the chilies in there. Then I am going to add a good amount of cilantro. And like I said, we're gonna use both the stems and the leaves, and you don't have to worry about, pulling off the leaves because we'll be chopping them all finely anyway. Cilantro in here. Priya calls for about, what was it? Half a cup of finely chopped cilantro, and this is about that. I would say though that, again, this is like a non-recipe recipe. You can really add to your personal tastes, and I really love cilantro. To this mixture, I'm going to add some kosher salt, about a teaspoon, but again, really to taste. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Just stick that in there. And a big pinch of red chili powder. Cayenne, ground cayenne works great. If you have like a smokier ground chipotle powder, that will also work great. If you don't really like spice that much, paprika or smoked paprika would work really well. And I'm just gonna give that a good stir together. So now I'm just going to stuff the sandwiches and close them before griddling them on the stove. I'm just gonna put a big heaping spoonful on here. My sourdough slices are pretty big, so I think they'll actually hold about half of this mixture. But as with everything else in this recipe, it is really up to however much you like in your sandwiches, however full you like them. Now we're just gonna fry the sandwiches just like you would a grilled cheese. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in a pretty big skillet. I'm going to try and be a hero and do this at the same time, do both at the same time, but you can also, if my pan is big enough, you can also do these one at a time if that is what makes you feel more comfortable. Fits perfectly. I'm just gonna leave this on one side for 3 to 4 minutes until the bread has gotten nice and toasty and golden brown at the bottom. So I'm going to check and see if we're all brown and toasty on the bottom, which we are, and it's not very elegant, but I'm just gonna flip. And try and be careful so that, oh, this one got a little burnt. You can add, I had a little bit of residual oil at the bottom of the pan before I was flipping, but if you need and your pan's looking a little dry, you can add just like a tiny little splash, which maybe I will do. These are gonna go for another 3 to 4 minutes. I'm just going to lower the heat so they don't burn at all before getting toasty on the other side. And then we'll be ready to top them and eat. Top it with this spice mixture. Get some good oil and mustard seeds all around. Priya actually likes to serve hers dipped in ketchup, and I am all for that, but you can also go with hot sauce or like a cilantro and mint chutney, or just a cilantro chutney, or just eat it as is. It's super good. That is so good. It's unbelievably creamy, just a little bit tangy, herby and bright because of the cilantro and the onions, and so satisfying. This book is really a wonderful hybrid of the best parts of the regional Indian cuisine from where Ritu grew up, and stuff that we know and love in American ingredients that we use every day. So it's extra special to me in that way because it reflects so much the way that my family cooked and used what was available in the grocery stores around the suburban areas where I grew up. Thanks for joining me today for another episode of Brinda Cooks the Books. I am really excited to hear what books you'd like me to cook from, so let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.